Hi friends, I'm Olivia, the Southern Yankee Stitcher. Welcome, welcome. I'm here to do a Flosstube video. I have no idea what number it is. I'll have to figure that out when I post it. But I just want to catch you up on all the stitching I did in January. My stitching so far in February and my plans for February. I also have some Save the Stitches purchases and some antiques that I've purchased. That a lot of you said you like to see what I get, even though it's not necessarily stitching related. I might use it to go along with my stitching in my decor. But anyway, I'm going to show it to you because you all have asked for that. I feel like so far this year, today is February 4th. It's Tuesday, it's about 4:30 in the afternoon. So I just got home from work and my phone, it's like a telemarketer just called my landline, just called my cell phone. When I tried to make the call go away, I stopped the video and I had to start all over. So now a message is popping up, a voicemail. I'm not even gonna try and look at it or make it go away. Anyway, I feel like I had a very productive January. I was looking at my book of days and I think there's only 7 days that I didn't stitch in the month, which is pretty good because, you know, I do have a life outside of stitching and you're just busy sometimes or you're tired, you know, or my eyes are tired and I just can't do it. But I'm working really hard to keep up with my book of days and I've done good so far for January. Now, I don't have any stickering, and I do like the way that looks, and I like the scrapbook kind of look it gives to your book of days, but I'm doing good just to get my stitching in there, and that, to me, is the most important part. I want to have a record of my stitching, especially when I started and stopped a piece. I just want to know that. I have in my notes on my phone, if I have a minute, I will write down what I'm stitching, what I've stitched the night before, and then just fill in a couple of days, fill in all the stitching I've done to try and keep my book updated. So, you know, if I say, oh, I got to put this in my book when I get home, I might forget, and well, I often forget. So that's why if I just put it in my notes on my phone, I can go back and write it in later. So that's what I've been doing. So far this year, I've had, I have this page I put in the back of my book. I had my book bound and clear covers put in it. I have 3 starts and 3 finishes. They were all started in January and finished in January. It's a Valentine Heart, Luck by Beck Creek, and then the small exchange I did for the Stitch and Thrift Retreat. It was part of the Sew She Did chart by Lori Holt. The one that has the sewing machine and the sewing tomato and scissors. And I will show you what I did with that pattern. I also put some pages in the back. I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 pages that just say retreats and it's all blank. So what I've done so far is I just started putting some information about the first retreat I went to. It was a Stitch and Thrift retreat in Lexington, South Carolina. I put down who my table mates were, and then I put a picture of my small that I made and the small I received. So here's the small I made, and I just did the sewing. I did the sewing tomato first with the pins in it off of that chart, and it just seemed, I know it's a small exchange, but it seemed small, too small. So I wanted to do a little more. So then I added the scissors and I put the word sew and made it into a little pillow. When I put the trim, that's the tape measure trim. And I showed the back of it because it's the first time I did that split in the back to stuff it and then close it up. And then I put a piece of felt over the back and did a blanket stitch. My blanket stitch doesn't look so good. And that was for 2 reasons. First reason was I used felt that I had that had adhesive on the back. So I cut out the piece, I adhered it to it, and then I wanted to still do the blanket stitch around it just so it, you know, look prettier. Well, it gummed up my needle, But that's not the only reason. I just didn't take time to make sure my stitches were evenly spaced because I was in a rush. I was doing this the night before I was leaving for the retreat. So, I mean, that's real life there, people. Getting it done on the fly. I kind of forget about them sometimes, so I need to make more of a conscious effort to remember when I have retreats and if I'm doing a small exchange for them. This is the item I received, and it was stitched by Kira Dobbs. She is one of the ladies who organizes that retreat. I don't know the name of the chart. I feel like I should, but I just can't remember. It's got wool on the back, and then she has the beaded trim along the edges. Oh, that was so pretty. I made out with that. After I went to the retreat, let's see, I came back and I had like 2 weeks till the end of the month. And I decided to focus on one piece. And that piece, sorry y'all, is At Home by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. I love this piece. I love the soft kind of muted colors. I love the history behind it because it's like a hometown for me reference. And I love stone buildings. I always wanted to live in a stone house. And so, love that house. I have a lot of charts that have stone houses in them because I love stone houses so much. So, when I have to show, I don't remember exactly where I left off on this piece. I know I had done this part of the border and down to about this far. And I started doing a couple of these little motifs. But then I went ahead and kept on. This is where the door is going to be on the house. So that's about midway through the chart. So I've almost come over here. I think this is going to be the corner over here. Let me back up a little bit. Let me move the stool I'm sitting on. I think that's going to be, the corner is going to go up from there. So, it's a little bit slow when you're changing colors a lot. I am a color completer. So whatever color I have in my needle, I try and use it till it runs out, which is why you see the border going on over here like this, because I was just using up that color that was in my needle. Now some, of course, I can't do. Like some of the reds and blues, they just are not prevalent enough in the pattern for me to do that. But a lot of them I can, and I try to. I love it. I hope that's coming through. The colors are coming through well. So that was my focus piece for January. I have a cat up here now. He's going to be a troublemaker, let me tell you. He likes to wake up at 4 o'clock every morning. And if you're nearby and he can get to you, like if your door's open or whatever, he thinks you should be up too. And he will start knocking stuff off, shelves, china, whatever. He will knock stuff off to make you get up. I have two scat mats I put if he's like really hitting up a certain area, and it's plastic, and if they step on it, it shocks them, or it can just buzz. Well, he needs a shock. A buzz doesn't do anything. But I have them now where I only have batteries in them. If he smells that, he knows if it's going to go off or not. Oh, okay. piece. Let me get it. Just have a piece of foam core here that I thought I would try and put my stitching on. It's kind of ratty. So it would show up a little bit better for you. So bear with me while I do this. I don't have enough of them where I can have them all loaded up and ready to show you. So at home, I worked on all through January. February 1st came Saturday, and I spent the day home Saturday. I put on some sweats and I stayed in them all day long. And I stitched, and I'd stop and do the laundry shuffle is what I call it, you know, putting them in the washer, taking them out of the washer, in the dryer, folding the clothes. You know, I was doing all my bed linens and everything, so I did laundry that day, and in between I was stitching. And I decided to start on one of the Whip Go pulls for February. And the first one I have is another Brenda Gervais pattern. Santa Stops Here. And so this is another pattern where I just kind of have the top right hand corner. I'm a top right starter. I like to stitch from right to, since I switched from using a hoop to stitching in hand with the sewing method, instead of stitching from left to right, now I stitch from right to left. I know it's kind of the same motion. It just makes sense in my brain, and I don't know. It just works for me better that way. So I had just the top corner started here. I had the border to about here and to about here. And I had two of the deer, and one of them had legs, the other didn't. Either one had antlers, and none of the trees were there. So Saturday and Sunday, I got the border completed. If you see a stray paw coming up here, it's my cat. I had the border completed. I did the trees at the bottom, and these are the steps to the house. I did do some of the white here in its week's grits. You can kind of see it there. I think it shows up a little bit better in person. But I was pretty happy with my progress. And so really for my Whip Go board, I'm supposed to stitch on a piece for 3 days, and a day has to be at least 2 hours. Well, Saturday and Sunday were long days for me, other than, you know, stopping to eat a meal and, you know, do a little piddling here and there, and cleaning and laundry. I stitched a lot. I got a lot of time in. And Sunday, I kind of did the same. I ended up having my granddaughter spend the night with me Sunday night because her mom and dad, well, they were both sick. Her mom was really sick. My son ended up going to work. He was on night shift this month, and I don't know if it's everywhere, but here we have a flu epidemic, I think. I don't know if they've called it that, but the elementary school in the district where I work, last week, I don't know if it was 63 or 83 people out, and they probably only have 350 students in that elementary school. So it was a lot of people have the flu. And my daughter-in-law is about halfway through her pregnancy, so I was really concerned about her running that fever and everything. So I took the girls, and they spent the night with me, and they were so sweet. They were so sweet. I gave them a bath in the kitchen sink because in the tub would have been harder on my back, and they thought it was great fun. Especially the 1-year-old. She was splashing. She loved baths, and then she got where she hated baths for a while, and now she loves them again. And she loved the bath in the sink, let me tell you. And I put the 1-year-old in the pack and play in my bedroom, and I put the 2-year-old in the bed. It's a full bed in my spare room. I ended up sleeping in my recliner kind of in between the two because I wanted to be sure to hear them. And if I slept in my room, I was afraid I wouldn't hear the 2-year-old if she got up, and she can open doors, and, you know, she can open the door and go outside. And so I didn't want to sleep hard. So I was pretty tired yesterday when I got home, left over from the night before. But I had to wake them up the next morning to take them to daycare before me to go to work. They were so good. They were so good, so sweet. There's nothing like grandkids, let me tell you. All right, so that was Santa Stops Here. I don't know where I put that project, but I didn't have it in the bag. My next whip go pull, and I'm gonna talk about plans now because that's all my stitching that I've done since my last video. I worked on at home, and then Santa Stops Here. My other whip go pull for February is Winter Rose Manor. And this is another one that I have started, and I worked on it some at the last retreat I went to. I just want to show you real quick kind of where I am so you'll know that my starting point when I show you next time. So, no stitching since last time, but I just wanted to kind of mark my memory and yours for where I am on this piece. And I will get started on that. And if I know me, I'm gonna get that house done next. So I'm gonna put, even though I put in long days on Santa Stops Here, I'm probably gonna work another couple days on it and then switch to this one. And Santa Stops Here is going pretty fast. I'm gonna go ahead and just try and finish that one up this month. And so it'll be, you know, done for Christmas. I know that's like a year away. Hey, it's 10 months away now, right? It's February. I know it's a long ways away, but that would be so nice to have that done. I really want to finish some pieces, and that's why, in addition to my whip go pieces, I want to have like a focus piece each month so I can get some good time in on these bigger samplers and get some stuff done, because I want to start new things. And that's what I want to show you next, is something else I want to work on in February. Now, I'm not a big, well, let me back up. Most of you, I'm sure, watch Just Keep Stitching. And last year, Pam, I think she started 24 and 24. And so she picked different holidays and days of significance to start pieces on. I think that's a really neat idea. I've never really done that. I don't even think I did a birthday start or anything. I've done that before. And I don't want to do a lot of them because I don't want a lot of starts, but I do want to do some. And the first one the first holiday that's coming up, other than Valentine's Day, which I did stitch a piece on Valentine's Day, for Valentine's Day. You know, I've shown that to you. That I finished that. I want to start a piece for President's Day. President's Day is February 17th, and I have a couple of charts that I want to stitch. I want to start that day, and it's actually 3 charts. Now, I won't start all 3 the same day, but I want to kind of focus on these pieces the next, I don't know, couple months probably. I don't think it'll take me long to get them done. 2 of them I think I can get done this month. The 3rd, maybe not. But let me go ahead and show you what they are. The first one is Nelson by Plum Street Samplers. And of course, this is George Washington with one of his horses, Nelson. And I'm planning to stitch Nelson on 36 count weathered stone by Atomic Ranch. I think that will look pretty on that. I'm keeping around the corner of my fabric. I want to make sure I'm getting it in the screen. I don't know how people can show it. They must have a bigger screen than me. I'm filming with my phone and watching on my phone. The other piece is Blue Skin, also by Plum Street Samplers. They're kind of companion pieces, and this is George Washington with his other horse, Blueskin. And I have chosen Barb's Blend by R&R. I have another piece I had picked out, which I thought would be a really pretty color. It's Mind Blowing by Fortnite Fabrics, this gray, but it's a 32 count, and I really want to use my stash. So all these I've picked from stash. So I'm going to go with this Barb's Blend instead of this 32 count fabric. I'm working on kitting these up. I have it partially kitted, so I need to make sure I get these back in the right bags, because otherwise I'm going to have to redo all that. The third chart I got in October of 2023 when I went to Mount Vernon, and it's a cross stitch they had in their shop there. And this is based on art by Ann Bell Robb. It is a kit that came with 18 count Aida. It's full coverage, so I'm gonna just stitch it on the Aida. And how big is this pattern? Well, approximately 140 by 80. And I just did that real quick, so I don't know how accurate that is, but it's on 18 count, which would be the same size stitching as a 36 count. And I want to put them all in a dough bowl or a basket together. I think that would be really pretty. I got all my little notes here for floss and things I need to get together. I went through, let me tell you, I went through these Plum Street patterns, and I looked because Plum Street, they kitted up, I mean, they call for various flosses. There's Weeks Dye Works, there's Classic Color Works, and there's DMC. And it's not like, here's all the Weeks, all the Classic Color Works, all the DMC. It's all mixed up. But she does give you DMC for all of them. Well, I like to use the overdyed, variegated floss if I can. But if it's only a few stitches, I'm not gonna, buy overdyed floss for, 4 stitches on a snowman's nose. I would just use DMC orange that I have, whether it's the call for one or not. But I went through the patterns to see with overdyed floss how many stitches, if it was just, I didn't count them, but just kind of glanced through. And she has already done that for you on these patterns. If she calls for DMC, it's either because that's a good color to use or because there's only a few stitches and there's no need to get the overdyed. So I thought that was really cool. It's something I didn't know about Plum Street. I don't know if she does it in all of her patterns. I don't know if it's intentional, but it's certainly lined up with that on these 2 patterns. And I really appreciate that. Because I have just, click the box from the store, online store, and say, give me all the flosses to get with it if I don't have very many of what they're calling for. And then I just have a couple stitches, and it kind of bums me out when I spend that money and I didn't really need to. So, all right. Pardon me, I need to drink water. Y'all, it is like 75 degrees here today. It is a beautiful day. Of course, it's the day that I wore a sweater, so I was hot at work all day. I'm a little bit hot now. I found some charts that I bought a while back. When I was at the Nonstop Stitching Retreat, I bought a couple of charts from Sweet Wing Studio. I saw these and I saw there's a spring version and an autumn version of what I got. I saw the spring one first and I thought that would be so cute in my granddaughter's room if I stitched that for her. And it's called the Spring Doxology. And the words on it say, "Praise God from whom all blessings flow." I don't know if you all sing, if you're church goers, and if you sing the doxology at your church. The church where I grew up, we did not sing it, but when I went to church camp, we sang the doxology before every meal. The church I attend now, we sing it every Sunday. And here's the autumn one. And the autumn one, I might girly up those colors a little bit. I know they need to be, fall colors, obviously, because it's the autumn doxology. Well, and okay, the first one says, "Praise God from whom all blessings flow," and then "Praise him all creatures here below," which are the first two lines of the song. So I don't know if she's going to do a summer and a winter for more parts of the song or not, but I thought these were really cute. So I got those. I want to share those with you. I also, I know I've told you all that I'm going to have another granddaughter in May. And I'm real excited about it. Well, they have decided for her nursery, the theme is going to be swans. And I was like, oh, that is going to be so pretty. Y'all, I found like a swan, instead of a rocking horse, it's a swan. And it has a seat inside. I haven't bought it. It's probably cost a lot of money. I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, oh man, I could have fun with this. So I've been looking at patterns that have swans on them so that I can convert them into a burst sampler. So I looked at a lot. But I came right back to Cottage Garden Samplings, A Year in the Woods, and the swans here. I just think they're so pretty, and their wings are pretty with that gold on there. I'm not going to do the cabin and the trees and stuff because I want to girly it up more than that. So I need to work on, I'm probably going to go through a lot of books and patterns that I have and see if I see a border that I like to go along with the swans, because I'll put all the birth information, name, weight, date of birth, all that kind of stuff you put on the birth sampler. So I got that. And then, a new family member means another stocking. Just got done one, but I decided this is a really bad picture. This is a Cooler Design Studios chart, and it's from 2012. It's called Gingerbread Mice Stocking. For those of you who don't like mice, you might not like it, but I think they're cute. They have a much better picture on the website than this is. But this hutch behind me, I moved that table or that pie safe out of there and put a pencil tree there, and it has all gingerbread men and all food kind of items on it, candy and food, sweets. And I have a gingerbread house cookie jar that sits there, where that scale's sitting and stuff during the Christmas season. So when I saw this, I was like, oh gosh, I know my fireplace isn't in this room, but I think it's so cute. And it's really hard to find. You wouldn't think it would be, but for me, it's hard to find a stocking that, number one, is stitched on Aida with a white background, okay? Because I want them all to kind of match that way, to be juvenile looking because it's for a child, and kind of have the same feel as the other ones, which the white Aida and the juvenile aspect of it kind of does that, but also no Santa on it for my son's children because they don't do Santa. So it's kind of hard to find. I found a nutcracker. He was a candy nutcracker, and I thought he was cute, but they didn't like the nutcracker. So I'll be going with that. And I bought a bunch of floss. I have a bunch of DMC already, but here's some more that I was going to need. Here's some more over dies and DMC for the 2 George Washington charts, the Plum Street charts. This is cinders from Gen Arts. And this is actually going with, I haven't shown you or mentioned it yet because I haven't received anything yet, but I got one of my first box retreats. I've never done those before, but when I saw that the Black Needle Society was doing one for Downton Abbey, I was in. I didn't have to think about it, I was in. And, you know, it's kind of a little pricey, but I've never done one, and it's a splurge for me, and I, you know, I'm doing it. So I've been trying to kit it up, get all the floss that I need for that. They called for all DMC except for this one, cinders, and I didn't know really how much I was going to need, but I bought 3. And I know it's probably way over purchasing, but I think maybe it said you needed 2. I have to go back and look, but I bought 3. It's one that you'll get it in 4 parts, and kind of like if you've seen any, like one of the only other Black Needle Society retreat in a box set I've really taken notice of is the one for the Gilmore Girls one, Stars Hollow. Is that the name of their town? Stars Hollow. It doesn't quite sound right, but I think that's right. Anyway, it was 4 seasons and you got one at a time. Well, this is going to be kind of the same way, but I think it's 4 blocks, kind of in a block shape instead of a long shape. So anyway, I got those and I'm excited about those. And then a while back, it's been months and months, I got a chart of a freebie table. That was the O Tannenbaum chart, and it goes in a wooden box. Well, I looked on all of the like LNSs that I work with that are local to me, and also the ones that are not quite local, but I do business with them to try and support them. Plus I looked at 123 Stitch. I couldn't find this box anywhere, but I went on the Crafty U and found this box. This is what you need for that pattern. And it's an older pattern. A lot of people did it probably, I don't know, 5 years ago, but I'm new to the game because I've gotten off the freebie table, and I've loved it ever since it's been out, ever since I saw it. So I'm excited about that. All right, I'm gonna have my giveaway winner from last time and a new giveaway after I show my haul. So let me try and get a little bit organized and show you my haul. A couple of them, I'm going to show you the Save the Stitches pieces first. It's what I'm calling them. I don't know. They weren't at like a Goodwill or anything. They were at, well, one was on Marketplace and one was in an antique shop. But it's not antique. But you might call it vintage. How old does it have to be like vintage? This is the first one that I saw, and I saw this. I follow an antique shop on Facebook, and she'll put, you know, pictures of her little vignettes in her shop, and she has so much. Like, you have to walk through her shop 3 or 4 times if you want to see everything, because from like floor to ceiling, it's so much. And she showed this, had a wooden box and some things in the wooden box, like a little wooden toolbox. And then hanging over the side was just a corner of this piece. And I messaged her on Facebook and I said, I'm looking at that picture you just posted. Is that cross stitch I see, you know, poking out the corner? And she's like, eagle eyes, yes, it is. I said, can you send me a picture? I might be interested. So she sent me a picture and she said it was $15. And I thought it was so pretty. And I said, oh, I really want it, but I can't come get it this weekend because I'm actually going to a cross stitch retreat. And so it was, you know, kind of funny. And then we had snow. So it was a couple of weeks where I could go pick it up. And when I went, she's like, don't ever worry about something I say I'm going to hold for you. You know, you're a good customer and I know you're going to come. So I know you were worried about the snow and, you know, being out of town and everything, but I'll hold it for you. So this is the piece that I got. It's from 1990. So what, it's 35 years old? That's definitely vintage. Haven't even tried to look up, figure out what the chart is. I just love the colors. To me, it's just so pretty, and I thought, I want to frame this. I don't know if I'll frame it with glass, like to hang on my wall, on the sampler wall I'm hoping to put up soon, or if I would just frame it without glass and use it seasonally, like in the fall. But no person's name or anything on it. Don't know any history on it. But that's it. So after, I said I was going to buy it, and I went to the retreat. It was a Stitch and Thrift retreat. And I asked people at my table, I said, so I'm buying some cross stitch that's fairly modern that I didn't stitch. Would you all do that? I know probably most people would buy an antique if they saw it, especially if it was $15. But would you buy a more modern piece? And there were 7 people at my table, and I think all 7 said no. They don't buy other people's stuff, and that's just something they wouldn't do. And I was like, I don't know if they really said they never would, but they haven't, and they don't really plan to. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm in the minority because I kind of felt like I was saving the stitches because I appreciate it. And whether I frame it with glass or without, whether I'm going to have it up all the time or just seasonally, I will put a note on the back that, I didn't stitch it, but, I loved it anyway. So, I'm happy with it. But, I'm just curious if other people would buy more modern cross stitch if you see it. I'm definitely a yes. I have that Kathy Barrick piece I bought, and anyway, I'm a yes. Well then, last week, I've been watching Facebook Marketplace because I kind of want some craft storage, and maybe like something that would store toys a little bit better in the spare room. Just kind of keep my eye out. I don't really know what I'm looking for, but I'm just watching it. So whenever I go on Facebook, I go on Marketplace, see what is new, and you put your location. And like, I only want anything that's within 30 miles of my home. But they show me stuff that's in North Carolina and Georgia that is not within, that distance I put in there. So a piece came up, and it was a cross stitch piece. And it was $10, and it was framed, but it said that the glass had broken, so it was in a frame with no glass. And I looked it up, and they were in Georgia somewhere, which was, I'd never heard of. I assumed it was too far for me to go. So I just messaged them and said, would you ship it? And they said, yeah. And the people were so trusting. I mean, I wouldn't recommend being this trusting, but it was with me, and I'm glad, I was never going to stiff them on it. But she's like, I'll ship it, and after I ship it, I'll let you know how much it is, and you just mail me a check. I'm like, you sure you don't want me to electronically send it to you? She's like, no, just send me a check. So I sent her a check, and she said, when you get it, let me know. And I did, and I love it, y'all. This is a chart. I have not checked my stash, but I am about 100% sure I don't have it, because I had it on a wish list at one point, where I had saved some things on eBay, some charts that I saw, and I'm pretty sure it's out of print too, but I didn't look this up. It's a Prairie Schooler chart, and I love it. I don't know if it's called Columbus or what it's called, but I love the motifs. I like the crab on there. I like the ships, the whale, the mermaid, all of it. I just love it. Now, I showed it to my youngest daughter because I said, Christopher Columbus is a little bit controversial now. You either can celebrate Columbus Day or Indigenous People Day. And I said, do you think it's going to offend people for me to show that? And she said, I don't think so, because if they watch you, they know that you love history, and that's like, that chart's like your vibe. And I was like, you know, this chart is my vibe. And it's stitched really well. And it's, I don't know if it's professionally framed, but and it has space in here where you can tell there was a piece of glass. But I'm just going to leave it framed like it is. And this will go on a sampler wall. I might at some point put glass on it, but I will put a note on here so it's not mistaken for my own stitching. And anyway, I was real happy with it. $10 plus it was like $7 to ship it, I think. I was super happy with that. Not that I wouldn't have loved to stitch it, because I just really like that piece. But anyway, so I was real happy with these pieces, even if I'm one of the few people that will buy modern, so to speak, cross stitch that somebody else did. I bought this painting. I think it's oil paints on board. It's dated 1959. Got this from the antique shop, and I just love it. I love red barns. I love the snow. I love the way the shadows of trees are on the snow. This is like a view I would love to have out my window. Yeah, I just love it. So I got that at antique shop. And I got 4 of these. They're all the same, and they're hooked chair mats. When I was growing up, my mom had some that, I think one of them had like a rooster on it, and then others just had flowers around them, but they were hooked like this. I don't know if you call this rug hooking or what. You know, it's pretty big, and I think it's wool. I haven't put them on my kitchen chairs yet because I didn't think about it when I bought them, but I'm like, the cats. I'm a little scared of the cats destroying this. There are a couple little threads that are loose, just a couple of them, and I would pull those back through. So I might just like put these on when I'm gonna have company or something. Or put them on, I don't know. I mean, if I thought that through and thought about the cats, I maybe wouldn't have purchased them, but I've been wanting them. And it wasn't until I got home and I was like, wait a minute, that might not have been a good idea. And then I purchased this. I don't know, can anyone guess what this is? It is a brick mold. And I thought it was super cool. I will use it. I don't think I'll hang it on the wall because I don't want to put a nail in it. I don't want to put a screw, you know, any kind of hanger on there. I probably just sit it in the shelf and use it kind of as a riser and to put little things in. I have a lot of little things. So I got that, which I thought was super cool. Well, not only am I kind of hooked on Flosstube on YouTube, I also like to watch people go to flea markets and buy stuff, or go to estate sales and buy stuff. I like seeing how they use the stuff in their home for decor. And this past Christmas season, I watched several people that had the putz houses. Putz houses they're made out of cardboard, and they're little houses about this big, and they're from like the 40s and 50s, I think. There may be some that are earlier. I haven't researched it at all. But I love the look of them. And I thought, I think I want to get some of those. As a matter of fact, there was clearance at Walgreens after Christmas, and they had some that were new, you know, but they were like cardboard, and they had the lights in them. And I got them because I just liked the look. They had a vintage look to them, and they were like turquoise and pink, kind of those colors. Well, I went to an antique shop and I found these houses that are not putz houses. These are called mica houses. And again, I have not researched what mica houses are. But when I saw them, this is after Christmas, I was like, I need to have those. And the way I'm going to display these is, I think, is the way I'm going to display these. I'm either going to display them with bottle brush trees or probably the two ceramic trees that I have. I have one that was my mother's, one that was my grandmother's. These are the little houses. And they are made of cardboard, and they're painted, they have glitter on them. My cat earlier knocked over the box with these in them, and they're kind of fragile. They all three must have come from the same home because they have names written on the bottom. And it's like they have little pieces of tissue. You can see the windows are blue. There's a little tissue in there. I think these were kits that you made. And this one says Genie on the bottom. This one here says Lynn. Now I'm thinking, is that who made them? It's all in the same handwriting. And it actually looks like it said Jan, and they wrote over it, made it say Lynn. So I don't know if they were giving it to those people or that's who made them. And this one says Jan on the bottom. So I'm picturing three sisters who made these. I don't know if they're kits that you can buy them. I don't know if you only bought them fully, assembled. But see, it's just cardboard. And they're very fragile. I have little pieces of glitter falling. So that is pretty much all my stitching, all my haul, stitching wise and antique wise. I have a few things that I purchased that are bigger, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some pictures of those on Instagram. But now for our winner. The winner of the Bent Creek Chart Luck is Sharon Williams. Sharon Williams 6787 is how you're listed on YouTube. And Sharon, all you need to do is email me at southernyankeestitcher@gmail.com. Send me your name. I assume it's Sharon Williams, but if you go by another name, send me your name and your address, and I will get this out to you. Now this week I have another chart I thought I would share. And even though it's 75 degrees here today, the old groundhog said that we are going to have, here's a cattail. This is the bad boy ranger. His sister just went running by like at high speed. Go. Even though it's 75 degrees here in South Carolina today, the groundhogs said we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter. So I thought I would give away this chart from Little House Needleworks called Snowflakes. Y'all see that? It is partially kitted. I got this at a retreat and I had it fully kitted. And, I think I told y'all at the end of last year, I kind of went through my whips with a hard heart, I don't know how else to put it, and made some cuts. That if I wasn't just super excited about stitching it, like I couldn't wait to stitch it, then I unkitted it. So I had several that I've gotten at retreats that I liked, but I didn't love. And this was one of them. And I think probably if I would stitch it, I would love it. It's really pretty. But I decided not to. I'm not going to show you the pattern, but it's partially kitted. This has got a stitch card, a floss card on here. And when you get these at the retreats at Panda's Crossing, she provides you with your fabric and all of your flosses. Well, if the floss is on this card, like for instance, in English Ivy, 310, 355, 435, whatever is on this card is all you're going to need for this chart, okay? If there are some others that are listed here, it's because I had a full skein of those, so you can assume you need a full skein. And when I unkitted them, I didn't really unkit them thinking I was going to use them for giveaways, so they're in my stash, and I just wasn't going to pull those back out. So you're getting the chart plus partially kitted. okay? And just use the word winter, since we're gonna have 6 more weeks of winter. Winter, okay? I think I've covered it all. If I haven't, we'll get to it next time. So I'm shooting for about another 2 weeks to do another video. I'm trying to do them shorter and more frequent. And I see now it's 50 minutes. I did not accomplish my goal today. So I'm gonna go now. I will see you all. Have a great February. Bye.